Today we're going to be painting this Plymouth Rock chicken. This is a rooster that I used to have. They're very beautiful with black and white feathers. And today I'm going to try to simplify painting the stripes on their feathers. I didn't want to do such a detailed interpretation, just more painterly. So right here I'm painting the comb, just laying down the basic shape. So I thought that this particular chicken was going to be a lot easier to paint, but with all of the little stripes, it proved to be a lot more challenging. And I actually ended up painting this chicken twice, and I'm about to paint it a third time to see if I can do a little bit better. The second attempt, it's not terrible, but even though I wanted to keep the feathers pretty simple, I still wanted them to have a little bit more clarity. But you'll see by the end of the video. And just bear with me because this is like my first voiceover, so I'm kind of new to this. I hope that you enjoy my channel. I hope that we can learn together. I did want to share a little bit of my life, and I really love nature, and so I wanted to get some shots of all the things that I love and share them with you. And hopefully this video will resonate with you, and you might like to watch some of my other videos. So right here I'm trying to lay in some of my darker darks. I've got the basic shape of this chicken. I also had to adjust my canvas. Well, I'm painting on a wood board for the first time, and I had to anchor it at the top and also move it up a little. So I put a little wooden wedge under it. It doesn't sit on my easel the same way that a regular canvas does, so I had to make some adjustments, but I was hoping that the smoother canvas would allow me to paint better, so I'm trying these wood boards that I gessoed. In some ways I do like the smoother wood board, but I also found myself missing the texture of the canvas. And the main reason why I wanted to move away from canvases is because of all the tiny pinholes that kind of drive me nuts sometimes trying to fill them all in. So if anybody has any tips for that, how to make your canvas smoother, just leave that in the comments. Thank you. So I have added in the yellow beak and the yellow eye socket, and now I'm trying to add a little more shape to the wattle and the comb. After painting this chicken 2 times, I would say that I don't recommend this type of chicken to paint if this is your first time because of all the details and the feathers. I would recommend like painting a more solid colored chicken, you know, maybe like a orange, like solid orange chicken, or a solid black, or solid white. The feathers on this are definitely challenging, and I suppose you could pencil them all in and pencil in the shape, but if you're wanting to do just like a quick painting and you don't want to fuss with details, you know, that's going to be hard with this one. So I just want to put this out there that yellow in acrylics is extremely hard to paint with, you know, unless you find the right one that's very opaque. Most yellows are very transparent, and a trick to add some opacity to your yellow is to add some white to it, and also using a blow dryer and blow drying in between layers to build that up. But yellow is a very challenging color to paint with in acrylics, I would say. You know, unless you have like some golden paints that are heavily pigmented, or heavy body, I think is what they call them. Also, the high flow fluid acrylics, those are a little bit more opaque than most brands. Here you can see my bag chip clips that I attached to the top of the board to keep it from shifting when I was painting. It kept moving from side to side. So this is the method I have come up with for now, because unfortunately my easel, it won't come down all the way to meet this, to lock it in place. So this is what I'm doing for now. If you have any suggestions, just let me know in the comments. Guys, I'm sorry that my voiceover is so awkward at this point. I think I'll probably get better after I keep doing this for more videos. So again, just bear with me. So guys, really at this point in the painting process, I am blocking in some color around the chicken, and usually I color my canvas before I start painting anything on it, but I don't know why, but I think because I was using this board for the first time, I totally forgot that part. So now I am going back and putting green around the chicken, which I don't really recommend doing. I think that it's easier to make sure all the little holes are filled in if you have a background color first, you know, so you have that under painting, that undercolor that kind of shows through, you know, like your chicken or whatever you're painting. So I think I'm gonna go through some of this footage and speed up some of these clips. So, you know, most of it's pretty monotonous, but I will slow down to show you a few things. So right here, I'm just trying to go in with some darks and try to find the areas with more contrast and fill that in. So a quick little story is I used to live on this farm and we had these Plymouth chickens. We had some hens and we had a big rooster guarding the flock. And my dog loved to play tag with this rooster. So he would run up and down the field with this rooster. He'd run after the rooster and then the rooster would run after him. So he always had a playmate. It was just really funny to watch. So roosters, they really can hold their own, and you got to be careful. Some roosters are kind of mean and aggressive, and you know, if you walk past them, they might try to flog you. Like I've had my mother-in-law got flogged pretty good when she was walking past this rooster that didn't know her. So you got to watch out for them. They're really beautiful birds, but sometimes they're not so friendly. But I guess that's good because they're guarding their hens. So my reference photograph had a lot of detail on the comb and the wattle. There were a lot of white crevices and highlights, and that makes it kind of tricky to paint when you're trying to do it quickly and not noodle with all the details. So I had a hard time translating all of that information because the photograph was too detailed. And I actually would recommend, if you find a chicken photograph that has a lot less detail, or it's not like zoomed in and catching all of the pores and everything like that. Like, the simpler your photograph is, the better you can translate your chicken with, you know, like one swath of color. So I wanted to suggest some of the features on the comb without going overboard, but I found it frustrating, and I painted the comb several times trying to interpret this information from the photograph. Well, I should say I wanted to interpret it loosely and quickly without using a bunch of little fine detail brushes. Yeah, but it is a lot better if you have a less detailed photograph to work with, because you won't want to try to interpret every little thing that you're seeing. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. Don't get a hyper realistic photograph to use unless you can turn your brain off in that way and just really squint down and simplify the colors and shapes and leave that extra detail out. So looking back at this video, I can see how the earlier stages of my chicken, I liked some things a lot better because it was more simplified, and kind of like the chicken just being two-toned, like a dark gray at the top and a light gray at the bottom. But sometimes you can kind of go overboard with your details. It just kind of depends on your personal preference, how much detail you want to add to the painting. You know, if you're somebody who likes to put in all the details and get out your, you know, liner brushes, your tiny fine detail brushes, you know, that might be something you like. In general, I try to paint as quickly as I can because I just really like working with color and brush strokes. So these chicken feathers went through many iterations. It's really a matter of personal preference. You know, if you're a details kind of person, or if you just like to get in there and paint really quickly, expressively, which I do like to do, but I also find myself going in at the end and trying to refine things too, just to make things look a little better, clean things up a little bit. I wanted to paint this type of chicken because this is a chicken that I've had in the past, and I really like these kind of chickens, but it's really a more complicated kind of chicken to paint as far as all of the little black and white stripes on all the feathers, and I tried to translate that as best as I could quickly without being super stiff. But the more that I kept going over it and over it, sometimes makes you feel like, well, maybe you should have just drawn it out to begin with and did it detailed, you know, if it's gonna frustrate you that much. So yeah, like in the end I was pretty happy with the expressiveness of of the dots, but I had to keep going over them and over them to make them read as feathers. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks again.